It's your girl, Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention herself. To all my helper bees out there, you know who you are. Those that are always helping everyone else and neglecting yourself. Yes, boo, look in the mirror. I'm talking to you. Here to let you know God has not forgotten about you. I've been sent on divine assignment. It's time for Reflections Choosing Me Guilt Free. That means 30 minutes for your mind, your body, spirit, and emotions. And don't act like you don't have time. You have time for everyone and everything else. Sit back and relax because if you're here, that means this show is for you or it's for someone you know. But most likely, it's for both of y'all. Deep breaths, love. Let's go. Hey, family. Hey, family. Hey, family. It is your girl, Michelle Allen Franklin. Yes, Mrs. Michelle D.I. Why? Y'all know, honey. Y'all know for divine intervention. Yes, because there are no coincidences in this world. Only God's divine intervention in our lives. And Mrs. Community Builder, why? Because you know your girl's going to give you the good information, boo, the things you need for your mind, your body, your spirit, and your emotions. And y'all know your girl is back. It's been 2 weeks without me live, honey. It's 1 o'clock. Your girl is on the radio. Yes. I am so happy and so blessed and so grateful to be here with you again today on this beautiful Monday. Y'all, it's September. It is September. Did you hear what I said? It's September. What we doing? It is September. The year is gone. We got to get ourselves together. We have to get ourselves together. The new year is coming. September already. Uh, I'm still blessed. I'm just feeling blessed again to be here. We have been gone for 2 weeks. I hope y'all enjoyed the replays, but we are here, and you know how your girl do. I'm here with a new series. Yes, we're going to start a new self-love series today. But before I get started, I want to give a shout out to my church, Church of the Living God, PGT. We call it the Palace. It's 1326. Yes, North Palace Street. Yesterday, we had our annual revival and cornerstone. It was a beautiful dedication service to the forefathers of the church. And my grandfather, Roscoe Allen Jr., was one of the many men and women that started and began the church. And it was just a beautiful service. My big cousin, Bishop Abraham Henson, was our speaker yesterday. It was such a blessing just to witness and to be a part. It is something about going back and knowing your history, right? Knowing the history of your church. And it gives a sense of pride. It gave me just a sense of resilience, right? How long it's been and how long we've lasted. And we're still continuing the good fight, right? And just such a blessing. It was such a blessing to witness yesterday. If you missed it, you know, we do record, honey. It's Church of the Living God. It's the official Church of the Living God Palace Avenue group. It is on Facebook, so you can catch that replay if that's what you want to do. It was a beautiful service. Beautiful service. So, like your girl said, today we are moving to a new series. You know, I was thinking about just my life and everything that is happening right now. And I am in a space where I have so neglected myself, right? I talk about this all the time. I have so neglected myself. I I went to the doctor, right, a couple of weeks ago. I hadn't had any insurance, y'all, in a little bit. And so finally had my insurance, and I said, you know, I'm just going to go and get everything checked out. And so I said, okay, I've had this history of fluid in my ankles. I'm only 48 years old. That's not cute, but I do have a history I've had for the past few years of fluid in my ankles. And I had a procedure done a couple years ago, and whatever reason the procedure, um, I'm still getting this fluid in my ankles. And so I had to go get that checked out. I needed to get my blood work checked out. All the things that I talked to you guys about, your girl needed to do, right? We got to put it into practice. It's so easy to teach and preach this thing, but we got to walk it. We got to walk it ourselves. So I said, let me go and just get everything tested that I haven't, that I've been neglecting. All of this, just taking a look within, it is a part of your self love journey. And I thought, you know what? I am going to take the rest of the year and we are just going to have some open and honest conversation. Your girl prides herself in having the honest, uncomfortable, right? But necessary conversations that we need to have with who? With you, boo, with yourself. Look in the mirror with yourself. So that is what we're going to be doing for the rest of the year. We are going to be having these necessary but uncomfortable conversations that we need to have with ourselves. And it starts with self love. I'm calling this series our self love journey. And I want to tell you why this is important, because self love is not selfish. A lot of us that I call us the helper bees in the world, we're the ones that are always helping everyone else and we neglect ourselves. I mean, it just is what it is. This is what we do, right? Not so much purposely, but it's very on a subconscious level because you're just used to going and being and doing. Maybe because that's what your mom did, right? For me, maybe that's what your grandfather did. My grandfather, my grandparents, they laid this foundation. It is in our blood, honey. If you know anything about any Allen in Tyler, the Allens that are on border, you know that we are helper bees to the 10th power, honey. Each and every one, and there's hundreds of us. I'd say hundreds to thousands of us, right? It's hundreds of us. And it is not a one that you can't call and ask for help, and we're not coming to help you, honey. I promise you that. And maybe it's just embedded in you, right? It's in your blood. That's all we've been doing. But there is something to filling your cup, right? So that you can be of service. I felt guilty when I first started, just really looking at this thing and taking a very intentional look at myself and my behaviors and why I was neglecting myself and why I was, doing the things and why was I making the decisions that I was making. I felt guilty about taking a minute for me. I would feel guilty about, doing something for myself. And that is not good. That is not good. You cannot be so of service that you neglect yourself. That I don't know where that comes from. Um, but it's just not good. We have to get to a point where we start loving on ourselves. So I'm telling you that self-love is not selfish. It is essential. It really does set the foundation for how you see yourself, how you treat yourself, and then how you relate to others. And so at the pit of the journey, when I started doing an internal look, at the pit of it, it was unworthiness. It was guilt. It was shame. It was things that had carried on from unprocessed trauma from my childhood when I thought about it. And so taking a look at ourselves is essential. Self love is the foundation for healing. So, we're going to set this foundation today. Before you can truly love or help others, you must first love yourself. Think about it. If your phone battery, right? Everybody has their phones. Everybody has a phone now, right? If your battery is low, it does not matter how many devices you try to charge, nothing works until you plug it in. Your heart is the same. And so self love charges your emotional and your spiritual battery. Again, it is not optional, family, it is necessary. In Mark 12:31, it states, love your neighbor as yourself. Notice that it says, as yourself, meaning you have to be loving on yourself first. It's not optional, it's part of God's demand. And so self love helps you to set healthy boundaries, it helps you to build confidence and resilience, it helps to break the cycle of unworthiness, it leads to joy and purpose. It is, again, an essential component in your journey called life. If you're one of those people that have been pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring, how long are you think you're going to be able to continue to do that until you feel empty, until your cup is empty, right? I remember getting to a point where I had given and given and given and given. I couldn't even give anymore. And if somebody asked me for something, I was so irritated at that point. I was just like, I didn't want anybody to ask me for anything. Now you have someone that is a natural giver who loves to give, who makes it happy to give. So imagine how much I was pouring and giving to get to that point of life. And are you there? Right. And if you're not there and you're on this road, guess where it's leading? It's leading there. You have to take some time to fill your cup. So knowing that self-love is just the beginning of this walk in your healing journey. It's the beginning of God's plan for you. I don't believe in coincidences. Everyone is not going to hear this message today. But if you are here and you are hearing it, what does that mean? hmm That means that it is for you, boo. It means it is for you. And God's divine intervention in our lives, if I don't know anything else, I know that his divine intervention in our lives is real. It is real. So, what we're going to do today is I want you to just take a minute and think about, who are you, right? Who are you in this walk? Who are you in this journey? Because we get stuck on these titles and who we have to be and who we think we are instead of understanding and knowing who God has called us to be. When I was younger, I had this incident. I have a 30-year-old and I have a beautiful 16-year-old. I have two beautiful girls. And when I was younger, I was really feeling some kind of way about being a teenage mom, right? If y'all have heard my journey, I talk about being pregnant at 14, had an abortion, shame and guilt carried on with that, right? Then I was pregnant again at 17. So if you could imagine in my mind, the guilt that came with that and some shame that came with that because I knew better, right? I had already did this early and I made this mistake at 14. So here I am again. So it's this unprocessed guilt and shame that carries. And so I had this title of, me being a teenage mom. And then I talk a little bit about I got married and then my husband came home and said he didn't want to be married anymore. So now I'm a teenage mom and now I'm divorced. And so it's two things where I'm just, these quote unquote embarrassing things, right? But was it embarrassing? No, it was life, right? It was life. My child was meant to be here, right? She was meant to be here. And so understanding and knowing and processing things a little bit differently in your mind, was that marriage meant to work? Did it mean that I was a failure or it was something going on with me because the marriage didn't work? No, it just meant that was life, right? We were young, 18, 19. Y'all know that young love is that's some good stuff, that young love. Right? It was some good stuff, but you know what? It was some other children that need to come into this world because he got married again and had other children. Them children needed to come. They weren't coming through me. When he had children, I was not ready to have another child, right? He and his wife and his path, they had their own path to go, right? So it is, how are you processing things in your mind? We have, um, these things in life that have happened and we allow them to be our identity. And so knowing who you are is the first step. Most of us, if we answer to these titles, we get stuck there. I'm a mother, I'm a father, I'm a wife, I'm a husband, I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a leader, but these are just roles, family. They are just roles. They are important roles, but they are not who you are. They are maybe your assignment. Maybe it's a season in your life. Maybe it's a calling, but it's not who you are. And so coming and falling away from the titles is what we want to do. When we're children, we ask, what are you going to be when you grow up? Well, what happens when the job ends? I can remember I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for 25 years. And in my mind, at the beginning of my nursing journey, I really thought you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to retire a floor nurse. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to happily be working that 12-hour shift, 36 hours a week, and having my 3 days and then working 3 days and having my 4 days off. You couldn't tell me. But after 7 years, right, and getting burnout, and having that burnout feeling and then feeling like, Lord, I still have purpose on me. I still want to be a nurse, but I just don't want to do this. Did that change who I was as a person? What are you feeling? Maybe it's time for a job to come to an end or for you to shift in life, but you are so busy worried about that title, right? You're so busy worried about, you know, what you've been doing instead of trusting God and where He is taking you, where He may be leading you. I had no idea when I left that job. I went to the outpatient department and it was this almost feeling of my wings were being strengthened because I wasn't in this box, right? Now I went over to the outpatient department. Within a year and a half, I was the manager of the outpatient department in less than 2 years. Who knew God had that plan for me? I didn't see it for myself. I surely wasn't signing up to be anybody's manager. If you would have just asked me, I would have said, oh, no, honey, I know I'm not doing that. Right? But it is, who are you? What are you holding on to when the marriage changes? Right? This is where the healing begins. This is maybe where your journey begins. Many people cling to titles because underneath there's a secret feeling of unworthiness. I said that right. The titles feel safer than sitting with just the raw truth of, I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am without the title. Somebody's feeling that thing today. When we lose a title, there's shame. There's often whispers. You feel like you're nothing. You feel like you failed, right? In that marriage, I'm not married anymore. As a teenage mother, well, at least I got married. At least I was somebody's wife. And so then 2 years later, to not be somebody's wife, I'm like, what am I now? Right? How many things have you failed, or what have you come to and you're feeling like you failed, that you don't matter anymore? We're going to take it to the Bible. Let's get some biblical examples here. Let's think about it. When God called Moses, Moses even said, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? Right? That's unworthiness. Like, who am I? When I started this journey of teaching, I've been a nurse for so many years, but I said, Lord, He started using me in a different way. I spiraled in depression, anxiety, started having panic attacks after my big mama and my stepfather passed away in 2015. And then I started seeing that there was not anyone speaking in the Christian world about what we were going through. And when I looked at the statistics of how many people were suffering, I said, okay, Lord, when it was 1 out of 5 people that are suffering with some mental anguish, 1 out of 8 that will suffer in their lifetime, I said, okay, Lord. But I didn't feel worthy initially. I thought, Lord, who's going to want to listen to me? What do I know about this? I'm not a therapist. I'm not a mental health professional. I don't know, all of the things. I haven't been to school for this. I mean, you touch base, psychology, right? I took psychology. We touch base, but this is not what I'm trained in. Lord, who's going to listen to me? Moses said, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? His unworthiness spoke louder than his identity in God. What about Gideon? He called himself the least in my family. That's in Judges 6 and 15. He hid in fear, not seeing himself as a mighty warrior until God reminded him. And that's what this is today. Yeah, I said it was a divine intervention. It's your reminder that you are more than, right? You are more than that title. You are more than whatever it is that you think that you are. Sometimes we need a reminder. The Samaritan woman at the well, all she could think about was the broken relationships, right? The things that she had been in, the things that didn't work out. She'd been married 5 times. Can you imagine how she was feeling? But Jesus didn't see her like that. He saw her as worthy of conversation, worthy of transformation, worthy of purpose. She ran and tell everyone, right? So instead of looking at yourself as I'm not enough, how about I'm growing? Instead of I'm broken, how about I'm healing? Right? We have to turn our thing around. Our words have power, y'all. How about instead of I'm a failure, I'm learning? How are you going to learn, boo, if you don't fail, if you don't try, make some mistakes, and then get back up and fix that thing again? Okay, oh, I learned. Oh, I remember this. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I can't do that. Let me try this. Let me try this way. How are you going to learn if you don't fail? Not just once, a few times, right? Instead of I'm worthless, how about I'm chosen? God is choosing. He has chosen us. We are on assignment, right? No matter how you see yourself, no matter what you're thinking of yourself, you are a child of God, of the Most High. We are made in His image. So it's not how you see yourself. It is how does God see me? Am I damaged? No, babe, I'm being restored. I'm being restored. Ephesians 2 and 10 says, for we are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works. Yes, let me say that again for the people in the back. I said, for we are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works. Yes. Your identity isn't tied to performance, it's rooted in presence. Who you are is not what you do, but who God created you to be. Remember Saul before? Remember Saul? Paul, before he became Paul, was Saul, right? Saul was known as a persecutor. His title was a destroyer of Christians, but God gave him a new identity. Abraham was Abram before, from exalted father to father of many nations. His name was changed to align with destiny. I need you to remember whose you are today. Peter was Simon, from a fisherman with doubts to the rock upon which Jesus built his church. The titles may describe you and what you do, but God calls you by your name and by your identity. I am more than my job is what I want you to look in the mirror and say. I am more than my mistakes. I am a masterpiece. I'm chosen. and loved. This week, I want you to take some time and write down all of the titles that you carry as a parent, as a spouse, as a career. And I want you to ask yourself, if those were stripped away, who would I still be? Write 3 identity words from God's perspective: worthy, chosen, healer, resilient, creative, faithful. Honey, I know I'm an atmosphere shifter. Okay. Yeah, atmosphere shifts. Right. What happens when you walk in the room? Who are you? Let me remind you today, your worth isn't up for debate. Your identity is not temporary. God doesn't see you as broken, He sees you as beloved. Now, as I said, we are going to start this 12-week journey together. I want you to start there because this is our foundation and carry this truth. Healing is not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you are and who you've always been in God's eyes, not your mistakes, right? When you feel unworthy, I want you to think of Moses. When you feel small, I want you to think of Gideon. When the shame and whispers, remember the woman at the well. God has always seen you. He's always loved you. He's always called you worthy. This week, I want you to just sit in that. Who am I? Write it down. Pray about it. Reflect on it. Replace all those unworthy words with healing words and stand in your true identity. Because that's what we're going to be doing, standing in our true identity. We only have a few months left in this year. We're not going in 2026 with this mindset, right? We are shifting, and this is how we're doing it, and we're healing from the core. All right, family, it's your girl. Remember that you are a masterpiece. Thank you. Divine intervention. Thank you for tuning in to Reflections Choosing Me Get Free with your girl, Miss Michelle D.I. Every week, we will have the uncomfortable but necessary conversations as it relates to your mind, your body, your spirit, and emotions. You suffered long enough. It's time to break free. So join me every Monday at 1 p.m. right here on KGLD Radio, where you can fill your spirit with gospel all day long. See you next week. It's your girl, Michelle D.I., Mrs. Divine Intervention herself.